I tell this funny story. I was actually a donor to ALEC before I ever got elected to office. I looked at it and I thought, this is interesting. Conservative legislators in a national organization that all get together, bipartisan, and advance good policy.
I'm here with one of the stars of ALEC at the 2026 annual meeting in Orlando, Florida. It's Oklahoma State Senator Julie Daniels.
Good to be with you.
You're the majority leader.
Right.
You have been extremely active in ALEC over the years, and I just want to point out that this year's Essential Policy Solutions, as you turn the page, you go right to Oklahoma Sets the Standard. And so
that's right.
That's got to make you pretty proud. And tell me some of the things that you did to set the standard.
Well, we worked a lot on tax reform over the past few years with Governor Stitt, and we got ourselves down to a path to zero, and we've cut taxes 3 or 4 times during my 10 years already in the legislature. We did hospital price transparency. We built on some of that. We got rid of judicial deference. We adopted the REINS Act, and then we did a lot of tort reform, a big workers' comp reform last year, and something having to do with just general lawsuit reform. What had happened is when my party took the majority after 100 years, about 20 years ago, we worked to get a lot of reforms, and slowly our Supreme Court chipped away at those. And so we went back in legislatively and corrected some things, and so readopted a lot of the reforms that we had done early on. And then this year, we were the first state to adopt an Energy Security and Independence Act to protect our fossil fuel industry from climate change lawsuits in our courts in Oklahoma. So that would be one I would add to this record that we set last year.
As we update the publication,
that's right.
We can slip
that's
it
right.
in.
We've already got the list going for next year.
That's great. How did ALEC help you along the way?
Well, I'm a non-practicing attorney, and there aren't very many attorneys in the legislature, so I was always going to be on judiciary, and eventually I chaired it. So what being on the Judiciary Task Force at ALEC did for me was to put me in touch with legislators who actually do practice law, but also a lot of private sector attorneys who work with the Judiciary Task Force within ALEC. So I will tell you that today, I can call various attorneys all over the United States in firms that have never had any work in Oklahoma, and I can ask them to weigh in on bills that have been presented to us, and I want to see what they think, and on any reforms that we're trying to adopt. So ALEC has literally provided me a kitchen cabinet of legal minds that I can use, and certainly I've made good use of them, and I'm constantly thanking them. But for ALEC, I would not have had that resource available to me, in spite of the fact that we have good staff attorneys and we have some good lobbyists in Oklahoma who work in the lawsuit reform area. I would think that's what ALEC's done the most for me, and that's why I would encourage every legislature to get involved in ALEC, because whatever your area of interest, whether or not you have expertise in it, you will find the resources and the people to help you get things done.
I'd be remiss in not saying that you were chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee in Oklahoma for years.
Right, for 4 years.
And now on the Judiciary Task Force at ALEC.
That's right.
How did the legal world sort of play into your becoming an expert in the Senate Judiciary Chair? You obviously have an interest in making sure the legal system works properly.
Well, I've always been interested in reform. I'm very pro-business. I'm very free market. And so if you step in to overregulate or to litigate and drive up the cost of business, which drives up the cost of living for all of us, I'm going to be there to fight you. And chairing Judiciary Task Force here for several years, being on criminal and civil, and then when they combined them, I took both. That long-term experience, we just came out of a task force meeting. I've only got a couple of years left, and we're already talking about what are we going to do to improve the task forces over the next couple of years. So it's been a great ride because of all the wonderful people who are there from all over the United States to help each other. And that's, again, what ALEC does, is brings the like-minded people together, and you build those networks. And I celebrate, I'm just celebrating the primary win of a friend of mine in Arizona who I didn't meet until last year when he brought a policy to the task force on judiciary, and I said, this isn't going to work. And after he started, he looked at me and he goes, "Can I withdraw this?" I said, "Yes, we've now become very good friends. We're working on things together." So it's just been a wonderful ride for me to be a part of ALEC, whether or not I was on a task force chair or in leadership.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate all you do here. Now, you mentioned that you were being term limited out How much longer will you be Senate Majority Leader? And I understand there's things you really want to get done that perhaps you couldn't
Right.
have gotten done before because you aren't going to be up for re-election.
Well, that's true. I'm Senate Majority Leader until my pro tem says I'm not, and he hasn't made that decision yet. But yes, I, like several of my classmates who are all in leadership together, have made our list. What are the things we wish we had already gotten done? We've got 2 years. The lists are long. So what we are going to do is try to cooperate and help each other, kind of group effort, to advance different reforms in the different areas of expertise that my classmates have. So yes, I have a long list that I've already started on this summer. And as Senate Majority Leader, what I try to do is make sure we get really good policy to the floor and try to explain to people sometimes that something's not quite ready, or it's just not something Oklahoma needs to touch, or maybe we've already done that. So I just try to bring people along as best I can.
How has ALEC helped you become the leader you are in Oklahoma? Has there been some lessons learned here in leadership as well?
Certainly, and I think, again, that is from those conversations with leaders in other state legislatures and how they do it. I tell this funny story. I was actually a donor to ALEC before I ever got elected to office. I looked at it and I thought, this is interesting. Conservative legislators in a national organization that all get together, bipartisan, and advance good policy. So I was a supporter before I actually joined. So I knew coming into the legislature that this is where I wanted to put my time and effort. So I don't bother with any other organizations. I get what I need from ALEC and try to bring as many of my colleagues in the Senate along as well.
Well, I want to thank you for all you've done here, and I know you're going to continue to work with ALEC even when your Oklahoma's state Senate days are over.
I certainly hope so.
I want to make sure that people know that they can, this is sort of a shameless plug, they can download this report from alec.org and read all about how Oklahoma has set the standard. Yeah. And with State Senator Julie Daniels, the Senate Majority Leader and wonderful friend of ALEC, appreciate you being here at the 2026 annual meeting in Orlando, Florida.